John.
It is inevitable that we will encounter others who are better than us in some areas of our lives. But something that people often do not share with you is that it's okay. It does not matter how well other people around you are doing, what score they got on their quiz, or what school they got accepted into. What's important is how well you are doing, what score you got on your quiz, and what school you got accepted into. You will get nowhere if you spend the rest of your life stressing about how well other people are doing. The only thing that truly matters is you, and how you choose to spend the rest of your life. Good afternoon, Dr. Jewell, Mrs. Lyons, faculty, staff, and my fellow students. My family taught me to, no matter what, do the best I could. If I am the best person I could be and use the right motivation, I would be able to achieve anything. While I should always push to do well and aim to be the best possible version of myself, they told me, they also warned me about the dangers of pushing too far and living the life of someone who I am not. I am the youngest of 3 siblings, and growing up, I was heavily influenced by always seeing the various accolades my brother and sister received and the skills they mastered. I based my identity on who they were and felt pressured to be just as good as they were, not for myself, but for the sake of being just like them. My parents' words of wisdom not only encouraged me to be the most excellent version of myself, but allowed me to not end up blindsided by the achievements of others around me, and instead guided me to pave the path to my success. Growing up, my sister and brother would always play games with me whenever I asked, specifically games where we would have to create houses for us to live in. My siblings would always try to give me what I wanted when playing the games since I was the youngest, and they would end up having to build their own houses out of scraps laying around our house. Yes, I did always have a great time playing with them, but I never felt content because I saw the creative liberties they took. As ridiculous as it sounds, I was jealous, despite them being willing to give up whatever they needed to so I could have a great experience. No matter what they did, I would always compare myself never being able to build my own house to them being able to build these amazing houses out of random objects no one would ever think of using. In no way could I match their creative genius when it came to building houses. Still, I only saw it as one of the many strengths they held over me. I believe something as little as being an inadequate builder when it came to these fake houses was a sign of my weakness. I later realized not being as good as them allowed me to learn patience and tolerance for the many imperfections I would eventually encounter throughout my life. Watching my brother and sister grow as individuals, I was fortunate to see their numerous talents. From my sister's phenomenal inclination to music, to my brother's great love of sports and exercise, I loved to watch them excel. However, these were not passions I had any desire to pursue. But because I saw how much my siblings loved them, I tried them. I believed I would be naturally amazing at them too. So I picked up singing and began attending voice lessons. To say the least, I loved it. I felt delight in singing beautiful songs, knowing that I was the one who created that sound. Yet, still, I experienced doubts about my abilities. When I couldn't hit notes I knew my sister could easily reach, I convinced myself I just didn't have the same knack, despite the years of training she had over me. For a year, I refused to sing in front of others. I let my fear of being compared to my sister's talents control my idea of what I enjoyed. I never let myself have fun with the activities because of the overbearing pressure to be just as talented. I wasted a year worried about what others would think of me in comparison to my sister, rather than singing for the sole purpose of it being something I found pleasure in. While it is always important to push yourself to do your very best, comparing yourself to someone else will not lead to greatness. Instead, it will result in leading a life of someone who you are not. I realized then that I would never fully enjoy life by living it through other people's hobbies or enjoyments. Pushing myself to extreme levels of misery while practicing something I once truly enjoyed would only push me back farther than where I started. Eventually, the influence my siblings had on my life seeped into my academics. Both of my siblings had attended Buckley before me, so many of the teachers I have had my siblings in the past. I, of course, know how my siblings excelled in school, and teachers were not scared to remind me how great they were. Having their enormous legacy over me, I felt compelled to match up to their level of excellence and prove myself to my teachers because I did not want them to think down on me. However, going to school started to feel like a chore, like something I would dread. I was so burned out, it was difficult for me to complete assignments to the best of my ability. One day, while avoiding those same assignments, I did what every Buckley student does and went to the portal to check my grades. I noticed something that shocked me. While I thought I was pushing myself for the better, I realized I had finally pushed myself over the edge. Despite my efforts, my grades were beginning to drop. I felt so exhausted. I was working to prove myself worth to others, not working to prove something to myself. There's no point in trying to be as good as others around you if you can barely keep up with yourself. I'm not saying you shouldn't try in school. You should always try to the best of your ability. However, you should not push yourself to the point where you are so consumed by your assignments, where you can hardly focus on anything other than schoolwork, where you are doing it for outside validation. No one can bring out the best of your success but you. When I was younger, I was close to pushing too far over the line of living a life of someone whom I am not. Still, I was able to keep my parents' life lessons with me to prevent myself from teetering over that edge. While it is great to take inspiration from others, it is of greater importance that you do not let the influence of others impact the way the rest of your life will play out. I looked up to my siblings as my idols, and while at times I wanted to be just like them, I have learned to not let their influence have a hold on who I am. I am proud to be known as their siblings. However, I do not want to be known as them. I do not want them to make up the entirety of my identity. Instead, I only want that to be part of my identity. You are responsible for creating the way you are viewed by others. The rest of your life should be shaped by you. By finding it within yourself to control who you are, you will find freedom in knowing you will experience many new opportunities. I am content knowing that I now have the freedom to choose what I want to do with my life and what I want to be known for as I continue entering different chapters throughout my life. Thank you.